Apparently it went boom, I guess. It, something did not go right. So, try and just eliminate the sources of failure. We're going to go with the default Cessna 172 here. I'm going to try flying the same route, see what happens. And this is actually the airport that I was planning on taking off from. As you can see, it just kind of plops you down in the middle of the runway. But we're just going to go ahead and crank and yank and let's go. Hopefully we don't run out of runway. Oh no, it's getting scary close. Ah, G-force! Plenty of space, plenty of space. Alright, so from here we need to fly heading of 286. So hopefully this goes a little bit better than in that other stream. Pull the flaps back in. Trim it out. Although, hey, one great thing about flying the default Cessna, just go ahead and turn that autopilot on. You have vertical speed about 700 feet per minute. And the thing flies itself. Isn't it so amazing? But, you know, with the buildings and everything, the ortho photos I was talking about previously, I don't know how this is all going to work out. I've never done streaming or anything like this. This is just going to be a total slobber knocker here. But yeah, you can see the little farms and all that, the little buildings and all that, and there's actually another mod that you need for the auto-gen buildings to remove the grass that's underneath, and then when you do that, it just looks fantastic. I mean, even down low like this, it doesn't look, sorry about that, it doesn't look too bad, you know. It looks like, you know, a flight simulator that's trying to essentially end up covering the whole globe in textures, which that you know, isn't an easy thing to do. Yeah, you're not going to get, you know, supremo high ultra detailed textures, but looks passable. That's from a couple thousand feet above the ground. Let alone once you get up into the flight levels territory, you know, up there where the big planes fly. Yeah, it just looks amazing. Alright, and this should end up taking us to a small little airport. I do have my flight plan kind of written out here. We're looking for an S-49 on the map over here. And then we'll overfly that, turn right to heading 353. Sort of, because that's the point where we follow old Evel Knievel. Looks like we're starting to lose a little bit of airspeed. As you get into thinner air, obviously the engine's going to make less power. Alright, I do believe that is a different river there. Actually, let's go ahead and set up the GPS, which I very rarely, if ever, actually do. So let's go ahead and give this a go. If anybody watches this, they're probably going to be laughing at me right now, like, what the hell are you doing? You do not know what you're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. S4 a 9er. S49. OR12. Yeah, because see, someone who actually knew what they were doing would probably do this before taking off. But psst, ain't nobody got time for that. See, we're getting rid of the farmland here and getting into the more mountainous terrain. And then S72. This is where people are all like, "It's not S, it's Sierra, stop it." Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, and our destination. Apparently we're landing at an Air Force base. Whoops! Alright, so we'll just have that in there. That way we have it in there for the sake of having it in there. Just that way we kind of sort of know, kind of a little bit where we're going. Hate to get lost. Actually, I wouldn't, because that's kind of the point. Oh, sorry, it's 306 we were supposed to be flying. Man. Ah. Yeah, I wrote it down. I wrote it down wrong. Just checked the old flight plan window. Good thing we got that GPS in there. Looks like there's a lake over there, a reservoir of some sort. That would be... See if we can find an area. What is it? Looks like a place called Murphy Castle Rock. Maybe? Or Warm Springs Reservoir. It's one of the two. One's to the south, one's to the north. So strange to think that all this chaos and destruction comes down to a friggin' river. I mean, river did that. You guys doing a flight the other day by the Grand Canyon, and it's just like, you look down at it, and it's just like, whoa. Whoa, man. Us humans are so insignificant. In the grand scheme of things, man, millions and millions of years and Mother Nature will wipe us all out, you know, man. It's crazy. It is crazy. I mean, look at that. Like, the river just like, 180. I mean, I think it would probably be fun to kayak down if you're in that kind of sort of thing. It's some sort of, I don't know, irrigation channel or something going on there. And there is absolutely nothing out here. Some farmland. So we're getting closer to our 10,000 feet here. In which case we will go ahead and engage the autopilot. The altitude hold. Which this thing actually has altitude hold. It's even got a button for it. So as we come up to 10,000 feet, once we get there, I'll go ahead and click this button, and then I'll basically point down at the ground instantly, like really quickly, and then just cruise on. So, ding! Then I'll go down to correct back to where you hit the button, and all that. And what I'm going to actually do here is... No! Darn. You can't do that in the default aircraft, can ya? Just going to turn it off. That way we don't see this, you know. There we go. That way we don't see it, you know, because that just ruined the fun. You know, half the fun here is the fact that we don't know where we're going. Oh boy, that EGT comes alive real quick. Seems about right. Good enough for me. So we know our airport that we're looking for is out here to the right somewhere, and that's where we're going. Looks like there should be a road running from southwest to east. Let's see here, match things up. Should be a little built-up town called Vale, which that's what we got there, I do believe. In this case, 359 going north, roughly. Well, 359 is basically north, but I'm going to go a little bit further to the west of that. And I think I might have just screwed up. I just went ahead and checked, and it appears that I had the stream unlisted this whole time. Hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe I think it automatically DVRs it or whatever, so it should end up showing up anyways. Just you guys missed the first 15 minutes and probably that first flight that ended up in a good old CTD. Alright, so let's just go ahead and hey, there we go. We got people actually watching now. Hey, that works a lot better. Of course, saying this, you guys won't understand that, but yeah, that's an embarrassment right there. I was gonna say, I found it kind of weird that there was literally nobody watching, just for like, what the heck is this? So let's see here, and I don't know, chat might be totally all sorts of screwed up. Novice streamer, I don't know what I'm doing. So anyways, seeing how I gotta give you guys an update because I totally failed. We're flying somewhere over Idaho, Oregon, Washington. We're gonna be flying to the north of Idaho, to a lake that's up there. I don't know this area. I'm not from around here. Never been there, but it just seemed like it'd be a fun little flight over some orthophoto scenery here, and yeah, hey, see some interesting stuff. Fly up to Snake River Canyon. Watch out for little flying Evel Knievels, all that sort of stuff. So I do believe this is our first turn. And let's see here. First turn was 359er. And yes, it's mandatory to turn every 9 into 9er, even when you're just doing like a general stream or whatever, just because it sounds more pilotage. Yes, pilotage. Piloty. Alright. Pretty sure that's a road. Somewhere there should be an airstrip around here, providing I am looking in the right area. Of course, we could just use GPS and cheat, but where's the fun in that? So it's somewhere out in this area. I hope it is. Yeah, actually, it's surprisingly difficult when you oh, just give me back. Oh my god. Okay, totally wrong. Ah, I suck at this whole piloting thing. Apparently the airstrip is out to our right, and there it be. It was out there somewhere. This is why they don't let me fly planes. Yes, Martin, this is onboard camera footage of the CLK. Or actually, no, it was the CLR at Le Mans. Wasn't the CLK. The CLK was, I mean, can't remember. The CLK GTR was the one that dominated. Then the CLK LM was the one that Mercedes was all like, oh, you know what? I think we're going to be better off going with the V8s at Le Mans because, you know, it's going to be more reliable, less likely to go boom. And then, of course, they all went boom, and that was that. Then next year they came out with the CLR that ended up going round and round and round and round and round and flying around. looks like we got some sort of reservoir. Let's try and identify it. Let's see here. Or maybe that's not a reservoir. I don't know. It kind of looks like a reservoir. I do not know. I do not know. I'm lost. So I'm not seeing anything on the map that even resembles that, but whatever. We got our trusty GPS, you know, so... So, how's this stream working out for you guys? Because this is like literally the first time I've ever done this, so I don't I don't know if this could be like it could be total crap what you guys are watching. But it seems like now that I actually turned it into being live, there's actually people watching and all that. So at least people can see it now. And you know what? Let's go ahead and jump out here. Look at the pretty scenery. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that audio down. Right about there, that sounds sure work. Oh no, quite English. 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 So easy. No kite. Yes, I was about to call you quite. I don't know why, but yeah, so I'm gonna get swatted on my first live stream. Great. Yay! And yes, I am very much alive. Very much alive, and you know, just haven't been feeling the whole sim racing thing recently, and just not been necessarily enjoying it, having the most fun in certain ways, but you know, hey, getting back into flight sims, and that's been something that I've always enjoyed. You know, but it's something different, and maybe this whole live streaming thing is something different, and all that. Not really necessarily sure what to do with this whole thing, but yeah, you know, you gotta find something to mix it up. And I know that you guys. I know that there's a good chunk of people who are into the racing sims, flight sims, and all that, all at the same time. So it's like, you know, I'm into both of them. Maybe my viewers, guys out there, will enjoy them and all that. And who knows? Just fly around on autopilot, see different things. And apparently in the middle of absolute nowhere, there is a cop way out there in the distance just booking it. Just middle of absolute friggin' nowhere. Like, what's going on there? No, Martin, I haven't watched any of the F1 esports or any of the, what was the other one? the world's fastest gamer stuff, I don't, I do not care about it one bit at all. Like, I could not care any less than how much I care now. And that's not me saying that, you know, I don't respect those guys and, you know, they don't have talent or anything like that. I just do not care. All right, if you are doing an essay on the split, I'm guessing this is for some sort of like classwork or something like that, some sort of schoolwork. Like, you deserve a high five. You deserve a high five, to say the least, because that's awesome subject matter, and therefore you're awesome. So, high five. No, I have gum. I am not drunk. I'm not high. I'm totally sober. I don't do any of that stuff because there's no need to do any of that stuff. No, that's not me getting on a soapbox or anything like that. Do not take it as such. I don't care what you do. It's just not for me. There you go. Oh no, you don't even know about the tire model in X-Plane, homie. Like, the tire model of an X-Plane is horrible. Like, it is horrible. And it is something that they actually were working on because it is horrible. So there actually was a flight sim where they were spending time working on the tire model because the ground handling in X-Plane has apparently always been absolutely terrible. And we're going to fly right up over here, which is should be the Snake River Canyon. And again, we'll fly in Evel Knievels and all that. And plus just nice looking area and everything like that. Beautiful scenery. You know, on the subject of DCS and all that, well, I guess in flight sims in general, seeing I haven't really ever said anything on this channel about it. You know, I've been on both sides of the fence in terms of the civilian aviation side of things and then the military side of things as to which one I find more interesting and all that. And you know, originally for me, it started off with the flight sims. Like, Microsoft Flight Simulator 98 was the first one that I played. And then, years on down the road, I ended up getting into Falcon 4.0, IL-2, the original IL-2, and all that. And it was just so much more fun because it wasn't just about flying and just looking at the scenery fly around and all that. But it's about, you know, shooting stuff down and not getting shot down. Which, is in many ways a lot more exciting, but at the same time, now years on down the line that I've been out of the whole combat side of things and the flight simulator side of things just in general anyways, because I've been more into the racing sims and other stuff, you know, non-gaming related, that I'm so rusty, and when I do try and get back into DCS, it just ends up being this thing where it's not Falcon 4.0 once again, or one of the various flavors of Falcon, with all the mods and everything they have out there. And because of that, like, it spoiled me that, you know, Falcon 4.0 is so good that going to DCS now is just like, you're missing so much, and especially the live dynamic campaign is such a big thing that when I go to DCS, it's just like, yeah, this is cool and everything, and all the systems and all this, and the switch flicking and all that, and, you know, it's realistic and all that. Like, I get it, I like it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm missing something. I'm missing the war you know, that's supposed to be going on, and it just doesn't feel right. But then I go back and try to go back to, you know, Falcon BMS especially, you know, that being the latest and greatest flavor, more or less, apparently. And it's just like, it's so dated. Like, they both got me spoiled, and at the same time unhappy with both of them too, because they both lack in different ways. And no, Thomas, I did not watch the V8 Supercars finale. I don't watch V8 Supercars like ever, except for Bathurst, because every year it's this thing where I tell myself I'm going to actually follow the series and get the streaming package that they have. That way you can actually, you know, watch the races and follow the series a little bit easier. But every year it ends up being a case where it's like, oh hey, the V8 Supercar season's over. I was going to pay attention to that this year, but nope. But I did see a couple of highlight clips, and there was Scott McLaughlin and Craig Lowndes, I guess, like smashing into one another and just going absolutely V8 Supercar street circuit racing, just crazy. Little lights there on the road. Gotta say, X-Plane with the ortho scenery, with the high resolution HD mesh, it just looks so enjoyable. I'll jump back in the cockpit here just for different sound effects. But this is without reshade or sweet effects or anything like that, because it throws a fit trying to record or stream. With that, I would strongly suggest that you do run with reshade or sweet effects if you're playing for, you know, just yourself and your own personal enjoyment, because you can make it just look so much better by bringing in a bit more contrast, giving the colors a bit more punch with some saturation. You know, not too much. You don't want to overdo it, but just good things. Good things. For some reason, I always feel like I'm sitting on the friggin' floor in this aircraft. Always got to raise the seat up. Yeah, Martin, I'd like to try, but we don't have JADOs on this Cessna, so we're kind of screwed for the Mach 2.0. I mean, we could probably flip it inverted. I feel confident we could go inverted, but the whole Mach 2 thing, and if you're gonna go inverted, you got to do Mach 2 at least, because otherwise it's just like, oh, you're doing aerobatics. Like, nah, that's just lame. As for beam NG drive physics, there's not a funny story there. There's not even really a story there at all. I tried Beam NG. I think it's just Beam NG at that point. Is before his Beam NG drive. Like, this is when it first came out, and played around with it, and I was just like, okay, driving in this game is absolute hot garbage. Like, simple as that. Just like everything was super tail happy, skittish. It was kind of like driving in Grand Theft Auto 4, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So I never tried out the later versions of BeamNG, probably because I was a victim of that first impression and all that, and I should probably give it a try and, you know, do things properly. But it just never really seemed like a game that was all that interesting to me, because I'm not really a huge fan of the crash simulator thing, and like I don't know what there is to do in BeamNG, which is why I haven't given it a second chance. So yeah. As for Motorsport Manager. Motorsport Manager is freaking awesome for that 2-week span that I end up playing it, and then I end up falling like out of love with it, more or less, for one reason or another. Play something else, totally forget about the game, come back like 4 months later, binge play it again, and just enjoyable for those 2 weeks at a time. I don't know if I could play that game for more than 2 weeks at a time, but it's enjoyable. Like it. Yeah, I think these streams are just going to basically turn into random Q&As, because, you know, especially if I'm going to do more of the flight simulator stuff. Like, I mean, there's not really a whole lot going on during the cruise because you're just cruising, just watching the world pass by, and even use a little bit of time acceleration just to get there faster. But I see no need at this point in purpose. But so who knows? But as for, I guess there's two questions. We're going to go in backwards order here. One guy asking about IL-2, Battle of Stalingrad, and everything else, and then some guys asking about the future of the channel. So, Battle of Stalingrad. I do have Battle of Stalingrad. I've been considering picking up the new expansion pack that they have, the Battle of Kuban, something like that, because I think it'd just be a more interesting area. I enjoy it. Again, kind of going back to the combat flight simulator side of things. Like, I haven't got my proficiency back yet, so it really kind of annoys me. But especially, you know, the IL-2 stuff, the new IL-2 games, and virtual reality, they are the best virtual reality experiences, you know, out there in terms of flight sims, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I've tried DCS, and DCS isn't bad in VR. You know, X-Plane, Flight Simulator, you know, FSX, Microsoft, and I probably Prepared, which I don't have the newest version of, but, you know, in virtual reality, I just don't see the performance from the games themselves to actually make it work, whereas the new IL-2 games run well enough. DCS runs generally well enough that you can actually use it and enjoy the experience. Because, you know, for example, X-Plane in virtual reality, there's just too many stutters, too many hitches to make it something that I'm really into and can really enjoy, because, like, the stutters, and plus running at 45 frames per second at best, because good luck hitting 90 absolutely sucks. But so yes, I like the new IL-2 games. I know they got the new expansion coming out supposedly next year with the, I can't remember what it was, IL-2 Bodenplate, I think it is, Bodenplatte, something like that, something German, where they're supposed to add in the Western Front, and I'm just going to be terribly biased here. I do find the Western Front side of things far more interesting than the Eastern Front side of things. I mean, we can go into all that, and, you know, obviously whenever you do that, people are like, oh, but, you know, you're just biased because you're American. And, like, I fully understand it. Don't get me wrong. Although Russia won World War II, if it wasn't for Russia, like, things very well could have been different. But that's opening up a whole different can of worms and all that. But, I mean, no, I mean, I'm sorry. I find a P-51 and P-47 far more exciting than a frickin' Yak-3. It's just, sorry. I mean, guess I'm just crazy. And plus, I usually end up flying on the German side anyways, because, you know, the BF-109, I mean, it's just, especially in VR, the BF-109 is frickin' crazy, because it's so tiny, so cramped. And, like, you just, like, oh my goodness. Especially because I'm, like, a bigger guy, too, you know? Like, it really kind of makes me feel claustrophobic. But, as for the future of this channel, I don't know. I do not know. Let me just go ahead and kind of rearrange things here. I could foresee doing more flight sim side of things, because especially of recent, it's really got my attention, and I've just really been having fun with it, and it's just been very relaxing and just enjoyable. Generally, if I'm not streaming, I'm doing something else while we're in transit, during the cruise, and you just kind of keep a check on it every now and then, and that's more or less that. But I do think I'll probably do more flight simulator side of things. As for our directional gyro, let me go ahead and align that real quick. Let's see here, so we're flying just a little bit of north. Okay, let's see here. I should probably not do this with freaking heading select on, because that's just not going to end up working out well. So we'll just go ahead and turn that off for a moment. Let's go ahead and align ourselves. We're going the wrong way. I am so rusty at this. We're flying about 015. Turn the heading back on. Alright. Thank you, game, for preventing me from crashing into the side of a mountain. On your channel's gyro, like that. But no, there. Wow, that's an offensive comment, Martin. But I do think eventually I'll get back into the sim racing side of things. It's just the last time I tried, just the excitement wasn't there, the passion wasn't there, and I felt like watching the videos back, because I had actually done the NASCAR iRacing series at Phoenix as well as Homestead, and reviewing the videos prior to uploading and breaking them down and rendering them out. I'm just like, I just don't, I don't sound, it just doesn't sound right, and I could tell, because you know what you're thinking when you're doing certain things, and more or less that's that. Those videos didn't go up, probably never will go up, and just like, you know what, I just need to walk away, take a break, and that's what I've been doing. And I think eventually, again, I will get back into the racing sim side of things, but in the meanwhile, flight simulators and all that, because I've actually been going back, because generally in flight simulators I've not been a airliner guy, like, at all. But for some reason, like, over the last 2 months, it's just like, it's been fun. I've actually been learning the Zibo modded Boeing 737-800 for X-Plane here, and figuring out the flight management computer and all that. It's just like, it's a different challenge of a different kind, and it's been enjoyable. Who would I rather sell my channel to? Tony George. I'm gonna say neither. Although, if I absolutely had to, the obvious answer is Tony George, because Tony George has like nothing to do with anything other than being pure concentrated open wheel racing evil. I mean, he's done nothing to me personally. He hasn't been, doing anything like that. And I mean, he's a douche, but he's the lesser of the douches in relation to me, I guess. But DCS, no, not the DCS, joystick or yoke. I have a HOTAS with my pedals as my rotor pedals. I have the CH Fighter Stick joystick, and then the CH Pro Throttle throttle. As you can probably tell, at one point, yes, I was into the Falcon 4.0. That's why I ended up with this setup. And then I just use my pedals as rudder pedals. It's kind of a little bit weird, but obviously there's only space underneath my desk for one set of pedals. I'm not going to switch out my pedals to rudder pedals every time I want to switch, you know. So just out of a practicality sake. But I do not have a yoke. I have someone I know used to have a yoke, so like I've tried it out and experienced it, and I think it probably actually would be better for the type of flying that I do nowadays, because it is easier to manage, especially as you get closer to the ground and you're preparing for landing. But I don't think it's worth buying a yoke at this point. Alright, so we are going to just go ahead and turn a little bit to the west here. Follow the canyon. Let's jump right back outside here. Get all the pretty scenery. Damn! Literally. It's a dam. Good old hydroelectric power. Let's see where we are on my flight plan here. Oh my goodness. Okay, somewhere it should be marked. Wait a minute. I guess time flies when you're having fun. Let's see here. Okay, I can't. I suck at reading maps. Would this game be fun in virtual reality? Yes, it would be very fun in virtual reality, except for the fact that this game doesn't run nearly well enough to actually run in virtual reality, and therefore, it's not very good in virtual reality. So, does that answer the question? I think that answers the question. And no, Bill, this is not Arizona. This is northern Idaho. Because random flight is random. We're closing in on our next waypoint, but yeah, not really wanting to stick to the GPS too terribly much. No, like I don't think it's necessarily a case of optimization, although they are working on a couple of new renderers and all that. I think they're working on Vulkan implementation, and it's supposed to end up improving the frame rate and all that. I think it's just a case of everything that they're trying to do, where there's the flight dynamics and the calculations and all that stuff going on, and then there's also at the same point, you know, the fact that they're trying to do weather for like the whole world and all that at the same time, so that way you could fly absolutely everywhere. And it's just like you're gonna end up with poor performance because what you're doing is gonna be taxing on the system. As for resolution on the Rift and iRacing, whatever the default is, which is like the default resolution with 1.15% pixel scaling, so basically 115% of whatever the default resolution is for the Rift. I don't know. let's just go ahead and... Somewhere there should be... There we go. Flyby cameras. Vroom, vroom. Right? Exactly. Alright, let's fly right down the channel here. I mean... Alright, who thinks I should try and fly this Cessna right down the middle of this canyon and see what happens? Yeah, Bill, we should be flying right up the Snake River Canyon and avoiding Evel Knievels. I won't do it. Yeah, that's some reverse psychology right there. Alright, guys, here we go. Hold on to your butts. I'm not sure if I have the plane damage turned off or not, so this very well could be the end of our flight. But we will try and keep it somewhat sane. Let's actually go ahead and turn that yoke back on. That way you guys can kind of sort of see my inputs. Our speed's definitely getting pretty high. We're supposed to keep it in the green, not in the yellow. One thing I will say I'm disappointed in is a lack of aircraft racing sims. Like, that needs to be a thing, and it needs to be done well. I know there was the one that Slightly Mad Studios was like, oh yeah, Bill, I'm sure this is a heavy fine, at least because wilderness area. I'm pretty sure this violates like every FAA rule in the book. But no, like air racing, like FSX tried to do it, but I don't think FSX was really capable of doing it. But especially with virtual reality now, like, just, that would be awesome. Like, because then you wouldn't even need to do, like, the whole world or anything like that. You could just do, like, just a small section, and you could do it in really high detail and still get, you know, pretty good performance, because what you're trying to do isn't biting off more than you can chew. Get some decent AI, and the AI wouldn't even really need to be all that great, because you make contact, you crash and burn and all that, so. But man, that would be so freaking sweet if they actually did that. Get one of those World War II warbirds that do like 570 miles an hour. I can dig that. I can dig that indeed. Alrighty, we are in. Bring the power up to keep our speed. Oh, don't worry, Obi-Wan. We're going lower still. Going lower still. If your wheels aren't on the river, you haven't done it right. Oh, there's tons of space down here. Tons of space! Did you bring a net to snag a trout? Net, just go ahead and stick your hand out and grab one from the river. Although you do gotta watch out for weird geographical anomalies, such as rivers that can go upstream vertically. Do a water landing. I don't want to be that guy, but I ain't got floats. So if I do a water landing, it will be... it won't be water landing, it'll be drowning. Is this height safe for skydiving? Yeah, go ahead and try. Here, I think I can even open up the door for you. There we go. Jump out. Oh, you already jumped out. That's why there's no passenger. Just casually flying through a canyon, opening up the doors. Not looking where I'm going. I mean, we're only doing 120. I mean, it's not like we're going that fast. It should be safe. Looks like we got a bridge up here, or perhaps a dam. It looks like the elevation drops off here. So let's see what we get. You never know what you're gonna get. Hopefully we don't run into a cliff. Go under. All right, hold my beer. Hold my beer. Woohoo! Yeah! Whew. Not gonna lie, that was kind of close. And actually, let's just a second here. We're gonna go back into replay mode here. Hopefully we don't crash. Make sure that we actually cleared that and we didn't actually collide, and it's just a lack of collision detection going on there. Did we make it? Oh yeah, plenty of space. Easy squeezy, lemon peasy. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I think we need to end up finding a way out of this canyon. I don't know when, though. Although apparently there's an airport up here. And if there's an airport, that means that some crazy guy's probably landing up in here. Actually, it looks like it's flattening out, so shall be good there. You know, I'm not sure, Kite, which one's cheaper, water slide or a Cessna plus fuel plus maintenance and all that? I'm not entirely convinced that this is a more efficient idea. Not to mention the lawsuit that will inevitably happen when you hit the ground, or the water, at 120 miles an hour. Or, I mean, 120 knots. So that's actually like, what, 140 miles an hour? do have to say though, even down low, this scenery does hold up pretty reasonably well. I mean, you can only expect so much, but pretty pleased. Let's go ahead and get lower again. I do not know, Bill. I'm not from this area, so I don't know where any of this stuff is. I just figured, hey, let's just go ahead and fly in this general direction. Went to Sky Vector, which they have the maps and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll just go from this area to this area to this area, and we'll kind of sort of all link it all up, and that's where we're ending up. But I'm sure if you look up on Google 25U or 22SU, yeah, 25U, you'll probably find out what that airport is, and that will probably tell you where we're at right now. So I don't know. I could open up the map, but the map tends to create stutters when you open it up, and I don't want to end up flying right in the side of a mountain because, I mean, we'd be dead. Although I think next time we make this trip, I'm going to have to take something a little bit faster. I mean, 130 knots just... I mean, it's nice and everything. It's nice and scenic. You get to enjoy it, but... And no flappy paddle. If this was anything, this would be the R Factor 2 of Flight Edition. Because, you know, you got the blade element theory model going on and all that. You know, it's got the real physics, not the lookup tables and all that. Oh goodness! Need to move this box. Tight turn coming up. And I so want to check the map right now. Trying to figure out where the hell we are. Okay. Okay, my next waypoint is a town called St. Mary's, and that is 92 miles away, apparently. And that is directly northish. So here, okay, I kind of know where we're at. Left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. Ah, we'll go right. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize this was happening. Otherwise, I would have gone on the left. But I guess this route ended up looking more impending doom. I should probably check. How much fuel do we got in this thing? About 7.5 gallons in each tank. So about 15 gallons of fuel. Yeah, I was trying Rebecca, but, you know, there's the whole chat delay, and, you know, me being a total noob at this, I didn't think that one through. I mean, I'm sure this route is just as nice. CH Fighter Stick Frost. No, Bill, I'm going further north of that. Let's see here. It is, oh my goodness, Sand Point. This is definitely not the slowest you ever seen me go. I mean, frickin' Spec Racer Ford, man. I mean, you couldn't even do 120 downhill in turn 5 at Road America with a draft and a tailwind. Alright. The scenery's starting to, things are starting to flatten out here, so we'll try and find something a little bit, more interesting as we kind of try and keep our way, our direction, to end up getting there eventually. $130 at Le Mans in the Spec Racer. Oh man. Now here's the question, Fraser. Was that just a test session that you did, or did iRacing actually schedule the Spec Racer at Le Mans with the unrestricted straightaway? Why would you ever put the Spec Racer at Le Mans? Why? Ever. Ever. Alright, we're going to try and get back up. Let's go ahead and fly up this area here. Got to kind of be mindful of our altitude and our airspeed. Because as much as you guys would probably enjoy me face planting on the ground, I would actually like to get there in one piece. Alright, trim it out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this at all. These mountains keep getting taller. Come on, little Cessna. You can do it. You can do it. I mean, that peak. That peak is awfully peaky. Alright. Let's see what we got. Here we go. Oh, I know I could go over the peaks to the right. And I'm just kind of deciding when we should deploy the flaps. So, I mean, we're definitely slow enough we can do it without ripping the wings off, but I have a feeling that'll also end up killing our airspeed even more so. Alright, there's first notch flaps. Uh-oh. Guys, we got a problem here. Alright, this isn't gonna work. We're not gonna make it. There we go. Okay, going back downhill. We can do this. I pull the flaps back in. I will say it is pretty amazing how from this distance those mountains in front of us, I mean, they look absolutely fantastic, but when you're like right up next to them, they just look like polygons and all that. Alright, I think we'll be able to make it now pretty easily this time, yeah. Would have made it if we had the Super Cub. Which I was tempted to pick that up the other night. But instead I went with the Real Air, or not Real Air. Again, get my flight simulators confused. The Just Flight Piper that they released a month or two ago. Because I had so much fun back in FSX with the A2A Cherokee. Just so much fun to fly. Alright, DB. We will do a barrel roll. Gotta get a little bit of altitude because this is a Cessna though, so. Oh great, we're gonna have that conversation. So the aileron roll is just when you use the ailerons. The barrel roll is the full on up and over and under and lose 6,000 feet of altitude because you're doing this in a Cessna. Alright, so we're gonna just keep gaining some altitude here. Let's jump outside. So yeah, we still got a mountain directly underneath us. Once we get up in here, I think we might be able to give her a go. Although I'm also concerned, I can't remember if that's going to basically over-G the aircraft and make the thing fly apart in 70,000 pieces. Andrew, I know we're up in Idaho over here, but I don't think you're growing potatoes in a freaking mountain. I'm just thinking out loud there. Looks like we got some sort of lake or something up there in the distance, or just, you know, X-plane being X-plane. I mean, you can do spins, and I mean, what's the big difference between a spin and a barrel roll? I mean, it seems legit. Obi-Wan, this does have the full world up to like 60 degrees north latitude or something like that. I can't remember because that's like super far up there. But it does have the full world. I only have Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona and orthophoto coverage, which is why the scenery looks honestly so good, because the default scenery doesn't look nearly as good. But alrighty guys, we're gonna go ahead and try to line ourselves here. This could be the end of the stream right here. So let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, we survived. And actually, I'm just gonna say this. That was probably a pretty poor technique, but I did not expect this thing to be quite so snappy there. Like, that actually seemed to do pretty well. It might be north of 80, Andrew. It's really far up there, and I don't just mean like Canada far up there. I mean like really up there. No, Robert, we most definitely cannot do a loop. The best we could end up hoping for would be a tail slide of sorts. All right, barrel roll from the outside. Here we go. Oh man, who knew? Who knew? All right, let's get back on track here, because I would like to end up actually completing this flight rather than ending up running out of fuel. Looks like there's a big time plateau there. And I started this off not wanting to like use the GPS at all, but now after you guys made me all go down a canyon and do barrel rolls, I'm pretty sufficiently lost if it wasn't for that. You ain't gonna get inverted. I mean, if you're gonna turn it into an Immelman, that means you're already upside down, and that means that the hard part's already over. Going up's the hard part, coming back down, that's the easy part. Yeah, Jason, despite the appearance, I do sort of kind of know where I'm going. Oh my goodness! Alright, we're gonna take a break from the shenanigan right here. Get back up to our 10,000 feet, and then maybe we'll go for a spin. I could be convinced. Everybody wants to do a loop except for me. I think I might have just come to the realization that I don't know where I'm going. Alright, Bill, I'm going to pull up the map here and explain. It's not necessarily going to be all the most useful. If you don't know what you're looking for. St. Joseph's Regional Medical Center. So I'm guessing there's probably a town called St. Joseph's, probably somewhere thereabouts. Something like that. Lewiston, Nez Perce County. Pullman. So that's Washington, I do believe. It's funny, you can see our little... It was at this moment that I started following your guys' instructions. Alright, we're just gonna fly along here. Oh hey, canyon! Let's go for it. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm using Sky Vector for my map, just because it's a lot easier. I'll level off at 10,000 there. Well, I wouldn't say it's a lot easier. It's just more realistic, because that gives you like the actual map that you would use, rather than the X-Plane map, which basically is like more equivalent to GPS. Because, I mean, if you just pull up the map and all that, and you're just flying around, it's like, okay, yeah, I got an airport, 3 miles away or whatever. 23 miles. So apparently... Where's the scale on this map? Who programmed this? Come on now. But, it makes it more challenging. No, Deegs, I'm not drinking. Just... This is what I do. So we'll just go ahead and give you guys a nice little wing view there in time being. My destination was Kilo Sierra Zulu Tango, Sandpipe. This is apparently what it's called. Looks like the scenery's glitched out there. Unless those are supposed to be like power lines or something like that. Looks like once again everything's flattening off here. The river that's directly below me, Bill. And I'm guessing it's probably somewhere over in here. Because that was kind of the goal and reasoning. Because originally I was trying to just do this map only and you know, turn the GPS off entirely, which apparently you can't do in the default aircraft, but this wasn't all planned. But then obviously once you end up flying down a canyon, you very quickly lose your sense of where in the world you are, and that's that. So I kind of figured going this direction there would be the river to follow and navigate, you know, true, you know, do some pilotage and dead reckoning. I'm not seeing a lake at all. Unless you meant like in my... But yeah, sand point, whatever the heck it's called, is on that Lake Pend Oriole, or whatever the heck it is. The McLaren MP4 12C rim from Fanatec. I don't know, is it the 12C or is it the 650S or is it just a general McLaren GT3? I don't know. But, yeah, kind of interesting. Like, as in... Interesting as in, like, I kind of want it because when I drive GT3 cars... Oh goodness, gotta wind the gyro again. When I drive the GT3 cars, I generally drive the McLaren, and you know, in virtual reality. Thanks, X-Plane. Thank you. Apparently, the scenery I installed did not install properly, and I forgot to remove it. But yeah, so like with the virtual reality, having everything the way it's supposed to be and all that, like it's extra immersion and all that, and like, I think it's cool, but I don't plan on buying it because I don't need it. Plus, I don't think it would work as good for the way I use it, which is one rim all the time. All of a sudden, I have hiccups, and because of that, because it looks like it's deeper as well as the top back of the I mean, we're not that misaligned. Like, we're not even... I mean, we're only... I mean, come on. Come on, X-Plane. You gonna grind me over that, really? Like, come on. That's like 2 degrees. Doesn't even make a difference. But the top portion of the back in the middle, it just looks thicker. And because of that, I don't think it'll be as easy to cross up and do drift things like I've been known to do. So yeah, I don't know if it'd make as good of a one wheel only, but apparently that wheel is, the McLaren wheel is like 300 millimeters versus 270, so there would be a difference. But again, I just, for me personally, I don't think so, but I can definitely see the use and the attraction. Best X-Plane add-on mod. Easy. US Ortho Photos. And I don't just say that because her biased American. The guy hasn't done Iowa yet, and I'm too lazy to do them myself. But just kidding, you guys ain't missing out on anything, because if you're not from around Iowa, there's nothing. But nothing to see at all. But, you know, you add in the ortho photos, and then the way the scenery, the autogen is generated on top of it, it just makes it such a much better looking world than the default, which makes it more fun to fly in, more exciting, and it's all good. In terms of other add-ons, I can't really tell you all that much. Explain Flat Earth mod, yes. You can actually go up into space. You can actually go up into space. So I guess you could actually technically end up having a Flat Earth mod. But that's something for the X-Plane. Yeah, what I'll probably end up doing... This was just kind of a, let's see how this all works, because I haven't done any live streams or anything like that. But I think eventually I'll probably end up be doing things that are more structured within like flight simulators and doing things more seriously, aka not flying down a freaking canyon in a Cessna, not going under a bridge in a Cessna. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but doing things more properly, you know, and actually using, you know, navigation, VOR, radio navigation, NDBs and DMEs and all this other sort of three-letter acronyms, GPS. I mean, everything's a friggin' three-letter acronym. But yeah, so maybe I'll make that flight. I'm not familiar with those areas from Prescott to Flagstaff, but I don't know. And I'm sure at the same point I'll also do some stuff in the Boeing, at least in the 737-800 with the Zebo mod, which I don't have any of the like full-on heavy duty, like hugely recommended payware airliners, just because it's not something I'm hugely into or haven't been into. But maybe as I get more into that, that'll be something in the future, and we can do more long haul flights, like from, I think some guy said from London to New York City or something earlier. Like, I've never done that flight. Like, I know a lot of people like do that flight over and over again in virtual airlines and all that, but to me that's just like, why? And yes, I know, Rebecca, I know I very well could do that. I just, it wasn't within the spirit of the flight, although the spirit of the flight I guess kind of went a little sideways somewhere in that canyon. But no, I think I missed, I think is, yeah, Bill, I'm using X-Plane 11, and actually the newest beta release version. This is beta 11.10 R1, which just came out like just the other day, and apparently it must have broke something, and that's why I'm ending up flying the default Cessna. But you know, that's beta, and that's that. But at the end of the day, for me, it was well worth updating to the beta version because it fixes the ground terrors going on. You get an X-Plane that are easily the most annoying thing in the history of mankind. Yes, I have used FS10. I used it, FS10, FSX, they're all the same thing. Used it for a while. Had a couple of sceneries and stuff like that. Had the Orbix Global stuff. Had one of the Orbix airports, I'll talk about that in a moment, as well as the A2A Cessna 182, as well as the Piper Cherokee. And the A2A stuff, or no, in addition to that, the Real Air Legacy, which is easily my favorite plane. But I eventually, what ended up happening when X-Plane 11 released into beta last year, actually about this time last year, it was like my level of frustration with FSX had kind of grown because of all the issues, the out-of-memory errors, and just the lack of stability, and the fact that I could never feel confident I could just, oh hey, let's look outside and see what's around me, just for scenery, you know? Without having any sort of confidence that the game was going to actually remain in one piece. And I think the stuff that I fly, which has generally been the more general aviation stuff like this, I think X-Plane just flies so good. And, you know, especially some of these aircraft, it just feels so much more alive. You know, the only thing that felt as engaging to fly in FSX was the A2A stuff, but anything other than that, it just wasn't even close as interesting and exciting to me. Even yeah, let's go ahead and turn a little bit here, get on our line. And actually, you know what? I will go ahead and put our airport in the direct to, just that way you guys can see kind of sort of how close we are as soon as I can find it. But even the Real Air Legacy, which I don't know how highly people rate that aircraft. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. No. I'm a total noob here when it comes to this. Like, even flying that aircraft, which was, like I said, my favorite aircraft to fly because it had good speed. I think that thing cruised at like 170 knots, 180 knots, somewhere thereabouts. But it just, everything flies like it's on rails, and it's just not as much fun. But, you know, I think Flight Simulator and Prepared has generally gotten the reputation as more so being more for the heavy metal, the airliners and all that. And, you know, again, that's not my cup of tea. You know, I'm not one of those guys who absolutely needs PMDG aircraft to survive. You know, like, I mean, I think it's great and everything. I can understand the appeal and the attraction, you know, but just not my thing. And let's see here. Fuel flow, about 5 gallons an hour. And we got about 7.5 gallons of fuel left. So apparently we are good to go. Are we even using fuel? I swear I checked this earlier, and it felt like we had about 15 gallons of fuel. And sure enough, looking at this still today, we have 15 gallons of fuel left. Do I have fuel consumption turned on? That's a very valid question at this point. But yeah, I do think that X-Plane 11, like I had prepared version 2, and it was still like the same thing, and I know they've done some updates to fix the issues and all that in terms of the memory errors and that, but I like X-Plane. Like, X-Plane 11 really converted me over to the dark side. And I do think we'll see more and more people switching over to X-Plane 11. We'll see more mods. And I do think eventually we could end up seeing, you know, some proper PMDG stuff in X-Plane. Like, that wouldn't necessarily surprise me, because I do think a lot of people have kind of gotten to the point where they're getting a little bit frustrated of prepared and maybe progress not going as fast as what they'd like. Leave it to Lockheed Martin to not make progress. F-35 joke here. Yeah, I know there's some really good airliners out there. Like, I've heard some good stuff about, what is it, the IXEG 737-200 or 300. And I know there's a 757, and I think there's a 767 as well that people go goo goo gaga crazy over because it's supposedly really good, but again, not my cup of tea, so I've never really followed it that particularly closely. Alright, there's two things here. Clueless as a flight sims, always been kind of interested in trying them, but would you recommend this as a way of getting into it? Yeah, honestly, like, I mean, this is, everything that you see in this video is X-Plane 11 standard, except for some additional free mods that I've piled on top of it. And, you know, there's not necessarily lessons in game, but there is, you know, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff available on YouTube that can teach you how, you know, everything works, and then you can end up getting into it. And, you know, basically everything that I use, I mean, it's just standard X-Plane 11, and, you know, it gets the job done. But a Cessna called Whoop Ass, yes, that would be funny. That should be the tail code, you know. Let's just change that up to Whoop Ass. I'm sure they won't mind. But the F-35, I'm guessing it's probably cycled off screen, but Bill, I believe the F-35 stuff is false propaganda. I want to hope it is. I want to hope it is. Like, it's got to be. You know what, we'll just switch over to GPS, that way we get there somewhat reasonably, because we still got an hour to go. And I don't feel like doing this all day. But I want to hope that, you know, the F-35 delays are all false, just to throw everyone for a loop. And, like, I think the $1 trillion price tag that apparently also includes expenses for the next, like, 50, 75 years or whatever, because they're going to be flying that for that friggin' long. Like, part of me wants to think that's also partly inflated, because I just feel that there is something out there in the world of black military projects that we don't know about, and the funding has to come from somewhere, and the F-35 is all just a convenient cover story over it. So I kind of operate on the fact that, you know, the B-2 stealth bomber, the stealth fighter, the F-117, that was like 35 years ago. I mean, the stealth fighter probably started 40 years ago at this point, you know, in terms of the development and all the work that we never even knew about in the public as civilians, you know. But then it comes out and it's like everything that the military has in the world of black is 20 to 30 years ahead of what we have now, which is why I find it so exciting, because it's like, what actually will it be? Yeah, exactly, like stealth Blackhawks. I mean, stealth helicopters? Why would you have a stealth helicopter? Oh wait, we have stealth helicopters? What? A-10 was the best aircraft ever made. F-35 was never needed. I mean, you can get into that whole debate and everything with the Air Force and constantly needing to kill off the A-10 because who the hell knows? Uh, there was I guess kind of while we're talking on this, let's see. Oh my goodness. Why'd you, oh man. So, one of the websites, dude, the A10 just got upgraded like 10 years ago or so. Not that long ago. Although they do need to do upgrades, I guess, because the wings are falling off because we've been, dropping bombs on mud huts for the last, 15 years. But one of the websites I regularly read is the Warzone on the Drive, just because they have interesting stuff on there. It used to be, it's the same guy that did, what was it, Foxtrot Alpha or something like that on Jalopnik and all that. But they had, this guy did a story on the F-117s and the cover-up that they had going on and the squadron that was actually flying freaking A7s or whatever, while the 117 was under development, and then the Toxic Death paint scheme that they had on there. I'll see if I can find a link here while we're flying, because it's actually a really good read and it's really cool. Let's see here. This isn't the story I was looking for, but that's something to go down a rabbit hole with. We still got 48 minutes to go. We're still a way away. Go ahead and jump out for scenery change. Yeah, that's one of the other ones. But I mean, it's not really like the whole thing, like with this is northern Idaho / Washington / Oregon, somewhere in that area. Like with yes, we're to the south. We're probably actually directly south of the lake right now. But like with the Air Force and their, like, what the plane that we need isn't the F-35 right now. It's something that is like the A-10, like the OV-10, like the Bronco that they're pulling back out. Because, I mean, it's silly. I mean, there is no air defense or anything like that, so to speak of, that, can't be handled with something, of that capability. But instead, we're focused on fighting a war with Russia that's never going to come, because Russia doesn't want war, as well as nobody's really paying attention to China, at least publicly. Like, just flushing money down the toilet, flushing money down the toilet. But hey, at least the F-35 is a good jobs program. Jobs for everybody. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs! Somebody cue up the Dwight Eisenhower quote about the military-industrial complex. Just go ahead and leave that quote in there right now. Alright. Yeah, the Comanche was a demonstration of stealth helicopters, but is also supposed to be Michael, that was most definitely not an anti-Trump rant right there. The F-35 is a legendary boondoggle that's been going on for like 20 years now at this point. If you think it's an anti-Trump rant, you need to stop injecting modern current politics into everything. But, I mean, yeah, the Comanche was a stealth helicopter, but at the same time, it ended up being closed down because I guess there was technically no need for it, or alternatively, maybe there was a very good need for it and they just closed the program down publicly to send it into the world of top secret projects that if I were to tell you about, I'd have to kill you. It's DJ Allen Rocks, the thing that inspired the name Empty Box. Metal Gear Solid. You hide in a empty box that becomes not empty once you're inside it, but the guards like come up and they're like, "Oh hey, it's just a box," you know. Like, you don't know what's inside the box. You know, you don't know what you're gonna get. Man, there's a lot of squiggly roads. Man, someone call up the freaking FIA because I think we got plenty of WRC stages up in here. Like, full on. Like, I mean, hey, you know what? Codemasters, you need another stage for your dirt games. Apparently, Idaho is the place to go. Our speed right now is our ground speed's 117 and our airspeed is like 100 in a little bit. So, not very fast. Yeah, when they shot down the stealth fighter, sorry, I didn't know it was invisible. I always loved that one. But if you go into that, there's so much more beyond that, and like, because what ended up happening is apparently the guys who were doing the flight planning decided to keep flying over the same freaking area because, oh, you know, our aircraft is stealth, it can't be detected by radar. Well, it can be. I mean, everything can be detected by radar, and they knew that. But they got lazy with their flight planning and forgot that, oh, hey, this stealth aircraft still actually makes noise. And the guy on the ground, the commander, had apparently done some modifications, and he knew that they kept flying over. And, I mean, it's genius. I mean, hats off to that guy. And, you know, as far as I understand, the guy who got shot down and the commander of that SAM site, they're like friends now and all that. And I mean, you know, but no, I think people look at that there and are like, oh, you know, and you know, garbage Cold War 1950s radar shot down the stealth fighter. The F-35 and F-22 are garbage. And then you're at the same time like, yeah, and that's why you see Russia and China and everybody getting on board the stealth bandwagon. Yeah, from my understanding with stealth, in the way it works is there's different radar bands, like different frequencies that the radar systems can send out, depending on what type of radar system it is specifically. And certain features can be detected. I guess apparently a very long wavelength radar, which requires a very, very, very big, you know, radar antenna, can detect stealth aircraft, but that can't actually be used for like targeting purposes because it's not got the resolution. So it'd basically be able to say that there's something out there, but then at that point, you know, you end up with there's something out there, we can all point in that direction and, you know, maybe also find something. I don't know. I think there's some people that think it's a gimmick, but I do not think it's a gimmick at all, but, you know, physics and magic and witchcraft. Let me guess, Ian. It's the, is this the, oh, this is probably going to open up, and I don't know if I can play this. Is that the one where there's the ground speed check? The guy in the Cessna calls a tower to get ground speed check, and then some guy in a, you know, twin engine calls to get ground speed check. Then there's a guy who calls from a private jet, and then there's the flying at 80,000 feet. Can I get a ground speed check? Yeah, that one's great. Man, could you imagine being that guy in the little Cessna who started it all? Like you just be cruising along, just minding your own business. You know how fast you're going, and then just boom. And you know what? Something we haven't done in a while here. We better make sure our gyro is aligned here. Although I guess that really probably shouldn't matter at this point. Although apparently, oh my goodness, things I hate. I'm trying to line this up. I thought when you're in nav mode it wouldn't matter at all, but apparently it does. Alright, so that looks kind of sort of right about there somewhere. Oh no, we're off course. Yeah, regarding X-Plane versus FSX, I would have to say, you know, before X-Plane 11, I would say that FSX, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, was superior. I think with X-Plane 11, it sort of changes the tides around a little bit, and I think comparing to FSX directly, unless you have, you know, buku amounts of add-ons, you know, and all that stuff that you're not willing to lose, I don't think there's really a reason to play FSX anymore. You know, it's time to move on to something more modern. You know, even if that is, you know, prepared, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think for the general aviation stuff, X-Plane does a very good job. And then for the heavy metal stuff, Prepared perhaps has the upper leg, in the sense that it's got some things that are a little bit more developed in terms of content, just because it is based on Flight Simulator, which has been around forever and ever and ever. So it's all just been building up. As for where we took off from, I have the airport identifier. Let me go back here. Checking my map out of the game here. We took off from Homedale, which is, I guess, right outside a town called Homedale in Idaho, east of Boise. Yeah, as I kind of said earlier, I have dabbled with DCS and Falcon and all that. With DCS, I'm kind of hoping that it will be like the things I don't like about DCS are really just the lack of the dynamic campaign, which coming from Falcon, it just doesn't feel as engaging at all when you're actually flying missions. But I'm hoping that between either the F-14 or the F-18, like, it will really get me going. Because one of the things that's been lacking with DCS, except for the Mirage, I guess, has been a multi-role aircraft, which I find way more exciting than just, dedicated ground and pound and, the F-15 sitting there from up high, lobbing AMRAAMs at everybody. Like, because it's kind of like the Falcon thing, with the F-16 and why I had so much fun with that. One mission you're doing friggin', combat air patrol. Next mission you're dancing with flying telephone poles flying at you, doing some wild weasel stuff. And I think with the F-18 in particular, it will add that dynamic in there, which is why I'm really looking forward to the F-18 in particular. Although, of course, the F-14, I mean, who doesn't like the F-14? I mean, it's a freaking Tomcat, And I think they also said that the F-14 will be multi-crew, I believe. I know they're going to have AI for the Rio, but I think they said you also have the ability to use an actual person back there and do multiplayer, which that could be really, really cool. So, I mean, then you can do some like actual like freaking Maverick and Goose stuff, So you mean eject into the canopy? Yeah, I don't have a problem with the F-15, but I mean the F-15 is just like the F-15, Yeah, I mean, especially with the F5, because I mean they already got the F5 in DCS, and then they already have the MiG-28 paint scheme for the F5. And I'm pretty sure that's actually in there like by default when you get that module, and everybody and their brother, it's just gonna be on those servers constantly, just constantly. And that will be fun. Like, I will be down for that. And I'll probably embarrass myself in the process, but hey, we already got the barrel roll and the Cessna mastered. I mean, what's the difference between that and flying F-14s? I mean, I see no difference. I mean, if you can do a barrel roll in a Cessna, you can do a barrel roll in an F-14. Andrew, your best bet is to get a flight simulator, X-Plane or whatever. If you're just starting off, I would probably suggest X-Plane. That's just my opinion. And just hop on in, watch a bunch of stuff on YouTube, and learn. I mean, there is a ton of tutorials available on YouTube. And it'll teach you basically what all of these different gauges mean and how you use them all to get from point A to point B and all their purposes are, and you'll very quickly end up learning everything, and you'll feel comfortable with it and all that. And yes, this is indeed a $500 hamburger flight. I'm probably going to botch the landing when we eventually get there. I'm not afraid to admit it. I really have a problem with flaring. And what I'm going to say, sort of in the spirit of the conversation, is it's because I've played a bit of the Jane's F-18 Hornet, and when you land it on a carrier, I mean, you don't even have a crosswind and you don't even have to flare. I mean, you just smash that thing right into the deck. So that's my landing approach, basically, even in a non-naval aircraft. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest getting X-Plane on Steam, by the way, because they don't update it as frequently, is my understanding. They update it when the major releases come out, but the beta versions, which sometimes are worth being in, are definitely kept to the non-Steam version side of things. And given that this isn't multiplayer, I don't think there's any compatibility or anything like that that you need to worry about. Alright guys, we're a half hour from there. Oh hey, scenery. Pretty. Hey, look at boats. I love it when orthophotos you sometimes get these boats and things, and depending on the traffic and all that, it can just look ridiculous. And I would say let's go fly on down there and fly under the bridge, but that bridge looks really high, and that just wouldn't be a challenge, so. I only get out of my cruise for 50 foot and lower bridges. Yeah, when DCS F-18 comes out, I will, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that it'll be almost certain that I'll be giving that a go. And you know what? Let's go ahead and divert here a little bit. Follow this river or lake, whatever it is. Looks nice. Looks scenic. Well, we are starting to get lower on fuel, though. Martin, unfortunately there is nothing on board. It's the darndest thing. Someone actually asked earlier what I had for lunch. I haven't had lunch, actually. I was not planning on this taking as long, and I'm kind of like not wanting to just be all like, yeah, I'm going to leave 30 minutes from where we're supposed to end up being, like, I'll just wait, and so there's no snacks. Yes, I am using a joystick. I have a HOTAS setup, a hot ass setup. Hands on throttle and stick. Sounds dirty. No matter what you say, HOTAS, it always sounds dirty. It always becomes an innuendo. But the CH fighter stick USB is what I use, and then the CH Pro Throttle USB, and then I use my pedals for my racing pedals as my rudder pedals. And no, sadly, I have not been to the Indy 500. I know, sacrilege, right? Sometime, got to do it, bucket list thing, it's definitely on there. It just, other things and not having been a priority and all that. And I know some people will say, oh, well, you should have done it for the 100th running because it's the 100th running. Or alternatively, oh, you should have done it last year because Fernando Alonso. It's the Indy 500. He'll be there. He'll be there when I'm ready. And yes, I did drive to Sebring, but not to Indy. I know, right? So it's sacrilege. Although I will say, the thing with my trip to Sebring, it wasn't just going to Sebring. It was also just the drive there, which is why I just drove out there rather than flying or anything like that. Because, I mean, freaking cost of gas, especially, at that time, because gas was more expensive then, if I do recall, Like, I mean, for the price, you could have just gotten a plane ticket, gotten there in, you know, half of the time. You know, get there in a few hours. But, you know, you don't get the experience of driving there. And I like it because, you know, especially, you know, on that trip, I was on the interstate on the way down there for probably maybe about 100 miles. And that's a 1,500-mile trip from where I live. And, you know, it wasn't the most efficient way to get there by any means. It definitely took longer taking all the highways and the back roads and everything like that. But, I mean, you see more of the country, you see more of the world, you see everything around you, and it's just, it's interesting, it's exciting. For example, I learned that in Alabama, the back roads, I mean, pretty darn good from the route I went, which, yeah, Bill, I went back in 2014 for the first combined IMSA Grand Am 12-hour Sebring. And that wasn't the reason why I went there. It's just a good timing for a trip, and I generally like to take a trip of some sort. And that was the one that year. Is this all one giant lake? River? Okay, let's find that puppy on a map. Yeah, the twin 12 hours of Sebring, like, that really, like, that irks me. Like, it's just, that just ain't right. Like, it just, I understand why they do it. Okay, apparently it's Coeur d'Alene Lake. Yeah, I totally butchered that. Yeah. And then there should be another lake up here to the north, probably about another 25-30 miles, and then that'll be that Lake Pend Oriole or whatever. And then our airport will be on the north side of that. The coverage of the race, if you're actually there, speaking from you know, my experiences then, yeah, the map is all to scale 1-to-1. Like, it's full globe, basically. But the coverage when you're there, like, it was pretty difficult to follow the 12 hours because, I mean, there's so many different classes and you don't know. And there was really only like 2 or 3 jumbotrons that they had there, and I think the only ones that they had were, I think, down in the hairpin. Actually, I think there might have only been one. I can't even remember at this point. It's been a couple of years, but the coverage, you couldn't really tell. But with the LED lights that they have on the cars now, like, I originally thought they were stupid and, like, why did you necessarily need them? You know, part of my ignorance at the time, you know, having not actually been to the race, you know, and how that all works out. But once you're actually there, it's like, wow, you really actually need those LED boards on the side of the cars to tell you what position that car is running in and all that. And, you know, I guess it all started back with the leader lights that they had in the ALMS. But you can't really hear the commentary, you know, the jumbotrons and all that, but going for the experience and all that, I mean, freaking, you know, I won't forget towards the end of the race in Sebring, I was down towards the exit of turn 17, you know, right behind the marshal stand there, and I mean the pit lane is right there. Someone's coming to the pits; they're about 10 feet away from you. I mean, you know, you're close, especially at night. You know, the lights that the cars have and everything. It's just so incredible to watch. Like it is so beyond just watching a race on TV. Watching a race on TV is definitely a better way to watch a race because it is a lot easier to follow. There's a lot better coverage. You know, you can actually tell what's happening in the race, but there's no replacement for actually going. Because you'll see a Viper burn right in front of you. Oh, God. Yeah, which for those of you guys who don't know, I'm a Viper fan. So it was so sad that first time that I actually got to see like the current racing Viper, one burned right in front of my eyes. It's just so bad. And that was the year they had the it was the hour-long caution, because after they got the Viper cleaned up, there was some other incident in some other portion of the track that needed cleaning up, and it ended up like it could have been two different cautions that were each about 25 minutes apiece, but it ended up they happened at exactly the wrong time to make it one friggin' hour-long caution, which that sucked. When you watch it on TV, you just change the channels and whatever, and you come back to it. But when you're there in person, it's just like nothing to do, except for relocate to a different portion of the track. And apparently, I didn't switch out of heading mode, but whatever. See what's happening? Not paying attention. Actually, you know what? I'll take it out of nav mode. Put it back into heading mode, and we'll just kind of fly this one in. We're almost there, guys. How long does it take to get out of rookie class? It depends. If you are a competent, capable driver, not long. If you are someone who's capable and competent, but not necessarily the brightest driver, it can take you a relatively long time. If you're someone who can't drive at all, it's going to take you a while. If you're someone who is a moron and isn't willing to actually try and race people properly, probably never. But it's not difficult. It's straightforward. If you're there and you're actually trying and actually making an effort, and you're actually like analyzing why things are happening, you won't have a problem. Mellowing with age, we're not really going anywhere special. It's just some area that was on the map, and I'm like, okay, let's go here, because I only have orthophoto scenery for certain areas, so I'm going through and just kind of, I haven't been this area, what's this area look like, you know? That's sort of my thought process. So that's why we're flying here in Idaho. Because I mean, Idaho, I'm just gonna say, you know, I know Bill, apparently you're from Idaho. I'm guessing there's probably one or two more of you guys out there. You know, it's like, I'm from Iowa, and I mean, half this country, half the Americans in this country cannot find Iowa on a map. All right, it's like right there in the middle for those of you guys who don't know. Put a pin in the middle, and then move a little bit north. But like, I mean, it's flyover country. I mean, so I definitely sympathize with you guys out there in Idaho, because I mean, again, it's Idaho. I mean, yeah, there's what is there? But yeah, to focus on getting out a rookie, again, I'm not calling you stupid if you can't do it, but the thing with the rookie level in iRacing, it's not a skill test at all. It has nothing to do with skill or talent or ability. It is all to do with, are you or are you not an idiot? And me saying that, some people might take that wrong. And no, there dang well is not anything wrong with Iowa. Iowa is Iowa. Represent. But, you know, the people who are all like, oh, people smash into me and my safety rating, how can I ever advance if they keep smashing into me? Like, if you're the person who's constantly whining about that and constantly wondering why people are hitting you and all this other stuff, it's up to you to evaluate what the hell you're doing and figure out why you keep having this problem. Oh great, Jimmy's here. Alright, we're going to switch on over into vertical speed mode here on the autopilot. And we're going to end up landing somewhere. I mean, it's still a bit of ways away, but apparently the airport should be right over in here. Somewhere over yonder. No, it's not really about staying at the back for the first few races. It's about just having a brain. I know, you know, that gets said a lot these days, and, you know, common sense has become uncommon. But it's just like, you don't need to not race people. You don't need to be terrified of everyone, but you just need to have awareness and understand how your inputs are going to have outputs for them, basically. And, you know, sort of develop that sixth sense, spidey sense going on, where you're just like, this guy behind me, he's a freaking moron, and he's going to end up smashing into me. And just be like, you know what, I'm going to keep my distance from this guy. I think that's the airport is, I don't have a visual on the airport yet, but the airport should be right behind this peak. It should be right about there. And yeah, you know, the gauges, you know, it's not actually, I mean, this is, yeah, it's on the north side of the lake, probably to the east of center, I guess. You know, once you actually get familiar with everything, it's not that complicated. And of course, the way I'm doing things in this stream, we're just basically, I mean, if you want to get as simple can be, all you gotta do is just, you know, click on the autopilot, pop it out, or use the buttons. You just click this button, and then you enter in where you want to go using this knob over here on the right, and then you press enter, and then all you really gotta do is just click this autopilot button, the AP, then just click nav, and it'll basically take you where you want to go. I mean, and really for this flight entirely, I mean, we haven't been doing any sort of, you know, hardcore navigation with the VORs, the radio navigation, or anything like that. So something like this, very, very simple. I mean, this is by no means complex or complicated. Now, flying around like this is infinitely easier than sim racing, but the landing part, not so much. Like sim racing, a lot easier than landing. And apparently, there's some misaligned airport and scenery right there. Looks like fresh highway too. Alright, so where is the airport? Where's the airport? These look like airport-ish buildings. I don't think this one's the airport. We're gonna end up leveling off here. Go ahead and level off at 7,500 ish, because arbitrary altitude values are best altitude values. But man, you compare like flying one of the airliners or whatever, getting it all programmed. Like, I mean, that's just way more than sim racing. Then again, of course, you know, there's the familiarity and the fact that I generally kind of sort of know what I'm doing with sim racing. Like, jump into a Group C car, like, whatever, comfortable. Jump into a 757. Oh my god, all the knobs and the buttons. I don't know, Martin. If that MiG-15 gets close enough, that thing's got what, like a 37mm cannon on it? It's like, peace, you're gone. All right, where we at? Where we at? I think we got the airport. Yep, we got a visual on the airport. So right about there is where we're going. Alright, and if we do manage to put this thing down successfully, we're going to try and go back up into the sky. But we will do a full stop landing. And then we'll do something to end this stream. I think a couple of you guys will be excited. So I should probably go ahead and figure out what the weather is and all that, what runway we're supposed to be landing on. Details, winds, calm. 2992. Which apparently we're... Oh my goodness. And force of habit. Usually there's a gauge over there, but not in this. It's a mighty fine hours counter we got there, right? What if we did a loop in the 747? Just kidding, that'll never work. So you know what? We're just going to go ahead and fly right into the side of this mountain that's right in front of us, because that looks to be roughly kind of sort of about on the glide slope that we wish to acquire. Hey, look, trains. So we're going to basically kind of come right over the top here, and we're going to just fly straight on in here and hopefully land on that runway. And hopefully that runway is long enough for a 747. Dead stick it in. Yes. Yep. Save money We saved some money. By the way, your landing gear is totally messed up because that's how that's gonna end up. Bill. All right. You've been with the stream here for a long while now. Do you think I'm going to call it in and say my intentions? Like, we just going straight on in. Like, FAA, like, who are them guys? We don't there's a runway over there. I don't see no traffic over here. You see any traffic? I ain't seen any traffic all day. We're in Idaho. Why would there be traffic? Yeah, let's just straight on in. Amphobious, dream guitar. I really don't have one. You know, they all have different uses and purposes and different feels. And how could you just pick one? You know. Oh yeah, we're gonna have plenty of altitude here. In fact, we're gonna need to get down. Might need to get down pretty quick. Air Force is gonna shoot you down. Oh, I'm sure there's some restricted airspace that I've done violated at some point here. Just a gut feeling. Although I will say, like, I'm not like any good at playing guitar, but like the one guitar that like I actually regret. Well, I wouldn't really say regret. I think that's far too strong. But years ago, like years and years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, freaking Guitar Center getting something else, and played this Schecter C1 Classic, and that guitar, like, for whatever reason, that one in particular just seemed like it was right. And then I looked at the fretboard and I'm like, these inlays are like hot garbage. Who the hell does this? Like, not saying that would be my dream guitar, but that's like the one guitar that I've played and been like, man, that thing was really good. Like, above and beyond. But then, of course, you look at the other stuff that Schecter has. It's like, sorry, you're a bit too metal for my tastes. Even though I listen to metal, but I'm not skilled enough to play metal. I have really slow fingers, is what I've gathered. I mean, we might be able to just glide it on in. I mean, yeah, you know, but it's a freaking like $900 guitar, I think it was. It's like, yeah, you know, it wasn't exactly burning a hole in my pocket. Didn't have 900 bucks ready to spend on a guitar that I wasn't even looking for. All right, we are way high here, and we are way high for a purpose. No, I do not degent. Alright, Bill, you're asking for everything here. You want me to dead stick it on in, you want me to do a flyby. Which one is it? I mean, come on now. And I think you can probably guess which one of the two it's about to be up in here. So we have arrived here at the lovely town of Sand Point, and we will be landing at Sand Point Airport. Alrighty, here we go. Oh no! My airplane just shut off. Oh no! Alright, trim it out. We should be able to do this easy. No, I just turned the engine off. And you know what? We're going to have way too much altitude and airspeed. Yep. Bird strike. Although then again, the saying's always the runway and the altitude that you left behind you is of no use. I don't like actually practice this, so we'll see how this actually goes. I know there's people out there. There's probably someone watching this video who's all like, "Oh yeah, engine out procedure, you know, just go ahead and pitch it on over. Oh, you're good." Oh. Yeah, we could probably land the other way, but we ain't got no engine. I mean, oh my goodness. We are way too high. Serpentine patterns. Oh my goodness. I want to try and get the flaps out. I know you're not supposed to deploy the flaps in the middle of a turn, but we ain't got no other reason to do it. Oh yeah. Plenty. There we go. We're properly turned off now. Deploy all the flaps. We're in the white stripe. We're good. We're good, guys. All right. Another S pattern. Another S. All right. Well, I mean, a midfield landing ain't too bad, is it? We're gonna stall. Oh god. we survived. We survived. Whew. We are fired. Okay. We had a vertical velocity of 463 feet per minute. But it says it's only a 2.96 G landing, so I mean, what? That's weak. Come on, start up. We ain't done yet. So we landed, we survived. If only. So we're going back up, we're going to get some altitude. Y'all know what's about to happen up in here. I mean, we got low fuel, so I mean, we could pull it off. It's a rental walkway. Nothing to see here. No, we can't fuel up, because if we fuel up, we definitely ain't gonna make it. I probably should reset the trim before pulling all the flaps out and face planting. Gotta get a bit of altitude for this one. A little bit of altitude, a little bit of airspeed. I think it'll just be quicker to get more altitude, and then we'll go into a dive to get the airspeed. Absolutely beautiful scenery up here, though, must say. Robert, this is X-Plane. Everything's got magic air-to-air refueling. You just put more fuel in it. Because it's awesome like that. Because video games. But we don't want no fuel, because if we have fuel, that's just going to make us less likely to actually pull this off. Of course, that being, let's tip it on over, get some airspeed. Hold on to your beers, because here we go. Alright, we're almost there. There's the stall horn. Yep, we're over. Well, it was a mess. All right, we got plenty of airspeed. Hey, we're still in the yellow or the green, so we're all good. Let's try not to stall it at the top. That way we get a nicer. There we go. Who knew? X-Plane 11 default Cessna also doubles as an extra. Who would have thought? All right, where's that bridge? We're going back for the bridge. Oh man, there's two bridges too. It looks like that one's lower than this one. I'm guessing they're probably actually the same height, but we're going in. Going in for guns. Oh, we are pushing her to the limit. Flying her for all she's got. Just trying to trim it out here. Trim it out! Of course, watch, we're going to lose all that airspeed. We'll be back down to 100 by the time we actually get there. Oh man, this bridge is lower, man. I'm getting kind of nervous. That one back in that canyon, that was like cakewalk, but this one is like... Seems, woo! Super low. I'll assume that's just the water that's just got on my windshield. All right, let's go back into the replay here. Hopefully this won't actually crash, but I'm talking about the game, not the airplane. Oh yeah, room to spare. Room to spare. All right. So which bridge was that we just went over? It was that one. Okay. And yes, I did just say which bridge did we just go over by force of habit. We most definitely did not go over that bridge. Let's go back and get the other one. And the scenery's goofing up around here. I suppose I should probably get further away. That way I can actually line up with the bridge. That way I don't, you know, just smash right into the... I need a G meter in this thing. Alright, we're gonna dive for the deck here. After we go under, we're gonna pull up and crank and yank. Nope, we're dead. Rip. Rip. But apparently you don't lose that much altitude doing a loop in a Cessna and X-plane. But okay, flight configuration. What was the name of this airport? One last thing before we call it. Alright, this totally is not going to end up working out well. Let's see here. Start with engines running, because I don't know how to start up the 747. Yeah, that second bridge didn't go. Well, I guess that was the third. I was 2 for 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's a solid D grade. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This thing's so big. I probably should have started on the runway, but parking brake. Alright, flaps all the way down. Co-pilot, give me all of the flaps, please. Every last one of them, and then some. And apparently, come on. There we go. And we're rolling. Parking brakes are complicated. I have a feeling we're going to overrun the taxiway here. And I have a feeling we're going to overrun the runway. Yeah, Jimmy, I'll probably stream again. You know, do something like this. Maybe not as hectic and silly. Something maybe a little bit more serious, but... Alright, give me the movement. Alrighty. Give me all of the brakes. I'll turn on the parking brake. We got full flaps. So I guess jamming all the way forward. And my throttles unfortunately do not give me full forward. But alright, we got the power on. I mean, see if A, we can make it off of this runway. And B, let's go for a barrel roll and a loop. Oh, I mean, we got tons of runway. I mean, this thing's just taking off itself, no input. Who'da thunk it? Who'da thunk it? But we are stalling. Oh, we're still gaining altitudes. So... Man, those flaps take forever. Let's pull the gear up while we're at it. Those flaps are still coming up. Alright, here we go with the barrel roll. You know, the test pilot for the 707 actually did a barrel roll when they unveiled it. So, I mean, it's not totally unrealistic. I mean, 707, 747, I see no difference. Let's do that again from the outside. And I mean, yeah, it's totally sloppy. Okay, that was just very poor. All right, let's go for the loop. We're going for it. We're over speeding right now. Oh no! Oh no! Which way's up? I mean, we could turn that into an Immelman right there. Alright, for extra shenanigans. Okay, let's go ahead and take it up to high altitude, and let's do a spin. See if we can get... can we get a spin going into 747? You know, I would try to fly it under the bridge, but this thing is taller than the bridge is high, so... it's not going to work out. Alrighty. Yes, the wings most definitely would have sheared off. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the last time I did a spin, but you just stall it, kick the rudder over, and that's that, right? I mean, we're getting low. Airspeed's definitely getting low. Yeah, keep pulling back pressure. And apparently default aircraft, not exactly the most entirely super realistic things. I mean, we're holding altitude. It's starting to go on me. Starting to go. Ah, heck, you know what? Let's just pull it up. Kick the rudder in. Oh no. Are we going to do an inverted flat spin? I mean, yeah, we'll survive. We'll pull out. Plenty of altitude. Gotta work on my acrobatics. Or aerobatics. Well, and my acrobatics too, but... just imagine what all those people down there are looking up into the sky and seeing. You can't really do a Cobra in a 747 because it doesn't have the maneuverability. I mean, technically, really all a Cobra is just yanking back on the stick as quick as possible, in which case... here's what happens when you try and do the Cobra in a 747. A whole lot of nothing. I mean... oh my goodness. Let's take her to the vertical. How long can she fly? Because we're still gaining altitude. I'm gonna have to look into the weight and passengers, because I'm pretty sure this is like gotta be entirely empty. I mean, we just powered on out of that stall right there. Just sticking to the firewall and presto. All right, let's get back to the airport. Let's go try and land this thing on that tiny little runway. And that will be that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not fully loaded. There's no way this is fully loaded. I know it's a default aircraft, and, you know, default aircraft are always kinda, sorta not so great. But there's not so great, and then there's just, I mean, like, who got the weight mixed up here? Alright. I mean, we could try and just... We could dead stick the 747, see how that goes. No, see, if I was just gonna go to the Air Force Base nearby, like, there'd be plenty of runway then. I mean, what's the fun in that? I mean, like, I feel pretty confident if you give me a full-length runway, I can put this puppy down. I don't think that'd be a problem. But, you know, short field landing, 5,000-foot runway, and 747, I mean, that's going to be a proper challenge. In Twingo, I'm using the CH Fighter Stick. There's some sort of horn beeping and booping at me. Alright, there's the runway. Let's see here. Flap limit, 280 knots, 240, 240, 410. Alright, we can deploy like all of the flap except for one, so we'll just go there. Is there... Oh, here's a serious question. I've noticed this in my trips to learn the 737. Like, the flap, or the gear extension speed, 320 knots? What are you doing extending the gear at 320 knots? Like, I never knew it was that high. I mean, I guess, you know, adding drags to slow down, but, like, my goodness. That's hauling the mail, dropping gear. Just like... It's alright, let's make sure we got speed brakes armed. I don't know if it's... Where's the rejected takeoff auto braking thing? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Alright. It's gotta have one. It's gotta have one. Alright. Where's that? It's usually right up under here. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Or does it just not have one and we'll just have to do it manually? I mean, I'm not against it, but there we go. Auto brakes. Max. Yeah, max those puppies out. We're going for it. Yeah, flaps out, gear down. Runway in sight. Oh my goodness, I thought we needed to slow down, but we are already doing only 137 knots. Martin, we're attempting to land a 747, otherwise known as a very, very big plane, on a runway designed for not so very, very big plane. That's what's happening right now. Alright, we are too high. Better get on glide slope. Because if we're not on glide slope, we ain't got a chance. Just pull the power all the way back, glide a little bit. Shed some altitude. Alright, we're starting to come back into it. We're still high. You can tell by the lights. What should end up happening is, if we get it just right, half the lights will be red, half the lights will be whites. That means you're right on the glide slope, coming in perfectly. We are still way too high apparently. But I don't want to fall through the floor, like I usually generally end up doing. Just working the trim, working the, where's the freaking yoke? Does this thing not have a yoke visible? Really? Really, X-Plane? Come on now. Oh yeah, I also forgot. It's actually going to be three white lights, one red light on the right, because we're in 747, so it's going to not appear the same. There we go. I totally forgot about that, because this thing's like 80 feet tall. All right, so we should be about right. All right, a little bit high, a little bit high. Add a little bit of power because I feel we're coming back down through it. Apparently we're not. It's so hard to get used to because I'm not used to flying an airplane that's 50 feet tall. I'm also not used to flying an airplane that can apparently fly indefinitely. Oh, we way high. Sirens going off. No, no. Airspeed got too low. Airspeed got too low and we just fell all the way through. But we didn't get her stopped. Yep, just like that, we have broken X-plane. Probably something with the head shake plug-in, but yeah, need more practice. That's why they have the pilots do it in the simulator before they do it for real, because then you get some guy like me who can't fly just smash it on in there. Just needed more airspeed. Ended up falling through it. I cut the throttles too early. Way too early. I mean, we didn't really bounce. We just kind of smushed. Look at that wing flex, man. I mean, you can walk away from it. Landing gears gonna need to be replaced, but I mean, not the worst. Any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. Let's just go back here. Did I actually hit the trees on? Just watch this in slow motion. Chariots of fire in the background. Dun, 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 dun. Boy, 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 boy. I mean, the rear landing gear, or the rear wheels of the landing gear, were like in contact with the ground, so we didn't even bounce it. All right. At some point, we should see the thrust reversers pop open. Eventually. But yeah, this thing definitely was not fully loaded at all. Or even close. Yep, there's the thrust reversers popping. So, edit weight and balance. Yeah, payload weight 72,260 pounds. Well, of course. I mean, we could go up to 1.5 million pounds. All right, all right. I said this was gonna be it, but we're gonna do that again. Take two. And yeah, see how much lower it started us there. So basically, that's the airport out there in front of us. Edit weight and balance. Okay, that maintained. And we also have 184,000 pounds of fuel on board. And we're going to try and put it down on a runway that's 5,000 feet long, 5,500 feet long, 2,500 feet long. I don't know. Some guy said in the comments earlier. Probably sunk in rather than bounced. Yeah, there's a good sized divot there on the runway threshold. I may or may not know a thing about that. Alright, gear down. Start deploying the flaps because they take forever. I'll cut the power. This that way we don't end up flying over the top of everything, although we are way high. It turns out this is a lot easier when you got ILS guidance. Because then you just line everything up and it's just like easy squeezy lemon peasy. But when you're trying to judge it and you're flying an aircraft that's like 10,000 feet tall, like everything's just weird. Alright. Do we got speed brakes? We have speed brakes, but for some reason my speed brake key isn't working. Alright, this one's looking a little bit better. Alright, don't fall through. Oh shoot. Oh, gotta set the brakes. Crisis averted. My God, this is so intense right now. Airspeed's getting low. Oh! Oh yeah, that was way worse. Full brakes. Give me the stoppage. I mean, we didn't run out of runway. Oh, now the thrust reversers kick in. Thanks, thanks. I mean, we probably shouldn't have deployed the speed brakes. And I'm guessing you probably actually aren't allowed to deploy the speed brakes. So what I learned the other day is that you can't deploy the speed brakes with 30 degrees of flaps in the 737. Oh, there's a dude here on YouTube. He's got a bunch of tutorials. He's an actual 737 pilot. He's like, yeah, you can't do that. I'm like, huh? You learn something every day. All right. All right. Oh, my goodness. Turn, you fat heifer, for crying out loud. Oh, my goodness. A turning radius. All right, we're gonna go for a water landing. I don't think X-Plane really does that sort of thing, but you guys asked for ditch. This is the last thing here. Make sure we're lined up here. Full burner, and by full burner I mean give me full power. You got afterburners on this thing, but if only. Oh man, we can. You know, I don't know the 747's performance particularly well, but I'm not entirely sure a fully loaded 747 is supposed to be able to take off on that short of a runway. I mean, we used all of the runway, but it seems like it should probably use more than that. Stop beeping at me. All right. You got plenty of light to work with here. Just set her down nice and good. Nice and easy. I'm not gonna lie, I've never tried a water landing, even with the float planes here in X-Plane. Like, do you just like fall through or what? Lady, where we're going, we don't need no landing gear. Especially when you weigh 800,000 pounds. Like, I mean, how's that gonna work? Alrighty. I mean, we could almost just stick it right there on the docks. Like a boss. 100. 50. 40, 30. Butter. MLG pilot confirmed. Yep. I mean, is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen right there? Our passengers are safe, alright? Best landing. Let's see what happens when I deploy the reversers. So I haven't even used the brakes. I figured the brakes would be useless. See if we can back up. Alright, can we actually reverse this thing? Or are we just... Because I was actually jacking around with 737, and if you do the reversers, you can get up to like 80 miles an hour going backwards down a runway. Just kind of... Oh yeah, we're going backwards. Apparently we're going about 35 miles an hour backwards. 30 miles an hour backwards. Ground speed right there. So it's calculating. Anchor deployed. I didn't even know there was an anchor in this game. Oh god. We blew a tire, guys. We blew a tire. Whatever we do, we blew a tire. Oh god. Oh goodness. It's just floating. In fairness, this close to shore, it probably bottomed out. Oh goodness. Replay mode. Explain. You will not crash on me, not right now. No! Explain. Don't do that to me. I mean, that is a thing of beauty. I mean, that is perfectly executed right there. God, I can't believe that. Like, I'm not even joking. $747 water landings. Who knew? Although I probably should have had the flaps up, because they would actually, I would assume, catch on the water. The engine's kicking up all the spray. I mean, that's definitely survivable, though. I mean, someone's gonna survive that one. Like our previous landings. I can't believe I never tried that. That was fun. That was stupid fun. And you can see the reflection. It's beautiful. I mean, who would have thought? I see your spruce goose and raise you one. What now, Howard Hughes? All right. Take off again. I don't know. Is it? Where are the starters? I don't think it's that easy. Well, there's ignition, so I guess. Oh my God! Stop moving around. Do you push them in? Wait, ignition. I don't know how this works. I do not know how this works. My God. Plane, you're not a boat. Stop. Any of you guys know how to start the X-Plane 747? Looks like a Russian chronoplan. You know, those things, how do they actually handle waves? You know, that's the thing I've always wondered. Like, it all sounds good to flying ground effect and all that, and start engines to running. Easy squeezy. But like, what happens when there's a wave? Like, are you just screwed? Like, I mean, yeah, you should know how all the gauges work and everything like that. It's just, I mean, the gauges that you see on here are not any different than on the Cessna we were flying earlier. The only difference is we are now a land shark. The only difference is there's a lot more stuff going on up here, and how to start the engine is entirely different because it's a jet engine. Okay, I hear something running. Circuit breakers. Oh yeah, some good old circuit breaker porn. What, you guys aren't into that kind of thing? I think I done Rector. That might be it. Plane, why you no turn on? Ooh, ooh. Got spinach. Something spooling. Turbo spooling up. Oh my goodness. I think we're wedged in now. And I think the landing gear just deployed. The landing gear just deployed. I mean, if this was a C-130, we could just drop to the back cargo ramp. We'd be perfect. I mean, just perfect. Nailed it. All right, why are you stuck at 29% engine one? Spool up. What is this witchcraft? Okay, so when the buttons go in, the engine was spooling up. I mean, we've definitely wrecked this plane now. I just want to see if we can get it going again. I have a feeling that's not it. I mean, 747 two-engine water takeoff? I mean, seems good to me. What the hell? Oh, you must have just missed it then, JLR. You missed canyon flying, a dead stick landing, barrel rolls in a Cessna. Meanwhile, these cars got friggin' anti-gravity going on. Landing a 747 at a tiny runway, doing a loop in a 747, doing a barrel roll in 747, and then a water landing in a 747, which was quite possibly the most impressive thing I've ever done in the history of flight simulation. And now we're trying to take off with a 747 from the water with two engines because I can't figure out how to start another. Maybe that'll do it. No? Well, we're up to 60. If we can get those other two going. Again, system faults. We just not getting a feel to the engines, or what? I mean, just imagine the guy who pulls up into the marina with his 747 powerboat. What's up? Corey, I'm not sure what Tower 7 DLC is. I've never heard of such a thing. Alright, so... pull that out. Because we tried to start engines to running and it didn't start engine 1 or 4. Oh my goodness, the gear is down. We probably could have done it. Come on, put the gear up. Put the gear up. Nobody likes you, landing gear. You go away now. Apparently I can't retract it fully. Oh no, we're messing with the IRSs. Dang it, now I'm stuck in the middle of the lake. I'm gonna have to flight the life raft and paddle onto shore. I don't want to paddle onto shore. Meanwhile, pretty choo-choo trains. It's so beautiful. Okay, I wonder if I can start with engines running. Oh no, it's not gonna let me. You know, Sam, I don't think it's because the engines are underwater, because if the engines are underwater, why did 2 and 3 start? Why is it the 1 and 4 that wouldn't start? And maybe it's because I probably did that, actually, now that I think about it, and it screwed up the auto start sequence. Alright. Because engine 4 started, engine 1 looks well on its way to starting, and it looked like it just kicked off there. Yep, there it goes. So we got to start on 1 and 4 now. And man, I wish the landing gear would actually go up. So I can get it to go down, but it's stuck in the off position, and I can't go to the on position. Alright, so 2 is kicking over. Alright. 3's building. The pressure's building up, then they'll dump the fuel in, and it goes boom, and then this goes up rapidly. And there we go. And once it stabilizes, We'll be ready to try and powerboat our way out. I'm not a train expert, but don't these things mean they're electric trains, and doesn't that mean that they need electrical connections? I don't know. I know nothing about trains, not gonna lie. Alright, let's give her some power. Now that we're pointed in a totally bad area, let's use some, try and use some differential thrust here. If I can get it to work. No! No! Or we could just pull a Tony Hawk and just Tony Hawk it. Alright, alright. I think this works, guys. Got some rudder kicked into it. I'll straighten her out. There we go. Feel the power. 60 knots. 70. 80. 85. 'Almost to 90. And we're running out of lake. Come on, next plane! You can do it! Okay, apparently pulling the flaps back in didn't make any difference, so let's try and put the flaps all the way up. Or all the way down. And when we hit this land, we're probably just going to go bouncing 6 miles into the air. Maybe if we would have had our landing gear down. Okay, this is just descended into utter chaos. Apparently we do have the landing gear down. I mean, it said it's down, but it didn't say it's locked. Oh wait, you know what? Okay, let's... We'll ramp into the water. I'll give us the extra speed that we need. If we can get there. Apparently we can't get there. Can't get there because our number 4 engine is underground right now. I would do it every time, right? But what we can do is if we can get the reversers. Come on. For some reason my button doesn't want to work. There we go. Nope, she's stuck. Well, that's that, guys. It's Yeah, the deflated tires are now a problem. Actually, yeah, you're probably correct. It is actually probably the tires that is holding us back rather than the number 4 engine being halfway underground. Fun with simulations, right? But anyways, gonna end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Alright, bye.